I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is all the mods 10 to the sky. I tell you what, things are looking up here in all the mods 10 to the skies, and we are really starting to progress. And today we're going to dive into, well, another mod. Well, a couple of mods actually. And these mods are going to be needed for progression. And as you've seen by the title, if you're familiar with these mods, we're going to be exploring industrial foregoing because we've got to get that set up, and possibly hostile neural networks, which is going to be pretty cool as well. Now, before you get on with industrial foregoing, I do want to mention that, well, this mod has some interesting changes or add-ons that are a part of it. More industrial foregoing add-ons adds tiers that go all the way up to 800% speed on some of these things, but to be able to get them, it is going to require several different things that you actually have to do with industrial foregoing that I've not actually seen before, which is pretty darn cool, because this basically goes, hey, if you want these upgrades, well, you need to use some of the mechanics of industrial foregoing. And I typically find myself in the camp where I only want to set up the things that I really need, not necessarily things that I've never used. For example, like I would have never really used the in-world harvester unless absolutely needed. And one of the requirements for some of these are going to be things like biofuel and sludge, which typically just get completely overlooked. Before I get started here, I do want to mention that I did upgrade these to the nitro tiers. So I did take the time to do that. And these things are producing quite a bit of power. I will say this is going pretty good. Now, this one you can see does look like it was draining, which is good because that's what I want to see. But each of these basically are generating like close to 500,000 RF per tick, which is pretty good. I mean, this is like overall like close to 3 million RF right here alone, which we're going to need because today we are going to need a bit of power. One of those reasons is because these things do take quite a bit of power when they are extended up, and I am going to need access to my applied energistic system. So right here are the 2 access points that we can use throughout all of our builds inside of this area to probably handle this. I mean, this supports up to 32 channels as of right now. So this holds 32, that holds 32. We may need more as we go. But yeah, we can always add them to, like, for example, this layer if we need to. Like, it's all wireless. That's the good part about it. Oh, and also I wanted to mention, yes, we are now in the top part of the tower, and there is a lot of space actually underneath the section that we are at, but this is the point at which the whole section is flat. And as you can see, there's still a lot of space in here. Now, since we're going to be playing around a little bit with industrial foregoing today, what's your favorite industrial foregoing machine? I'd love to hear from you down in the comments below. Now let's get into industrial foregoing. And first thing, and the slowest part of getting started with this mod, is simply getting the fluid extractor set up and generating latex, which we are going to need quite a bit of. Now, I do plan on placing some blocks in here, which is going to be pretty interesting as well. But I want to place them in by using the advanced block placer from Just Dire Things. I think this is going to simplify this process really nice. And if I know how this machine works, I'm pretty sure that we can bring the like value down here and increase the Y value. And we can have it essentially fill in this entire area like this, that's split in the 2x2 area. And we can tell this, hey, place some logs, and it is going to place in logs once it has logs to place in its inventory. So let's try this. Let's just try spruce logs for right now, even though I do want to use, I believe, acacia for this. If we get a point to give this some power, we're also going to, by the way, use points to give the rest of the machine power, but I'm thinking I'm going to use pipes for that. Let's try this out. Okay, so I'm going to place this in, and yes, it is placing in all of the logs. Perfect. And this is going to already start generating latex. Now, we do have to get them all powered, so I'll just run some cables down, but I also want to pull the actual fluid out of here too and send that into applied energistics. And I think this configuration is going to be more than fine. This is powering here, and I'm using basic universal cables from Mechanism instead of the pipes mod. I mean, this is going to be more than enough power to be able to produce latex for these machines. And you know what I should also do? What we could do is potentially put this in the floor. So that way all of these logs are essentially being placed in from the bottom up. And I mean, that should still be defined, right? Okay, so we do have to change this value, but there we go. And then we can just handle all of our piping going straight into the ground and handle it all under here because we have so much space under here to kind of play with. And yeah, that's going to look a lot cleaner. Down here, we can run some fluid pipes. We are going to probably need the configurator there, though, to be able to set these to output, but I do want them to all go to a central tank so that way we connect our applied energistics up to it. And this is to prevent me from pushing fluids into the applied energistics system. I typically like to work with this workflow for a very specific reason. If we go to add something and I forget, and I have, for example, like an external storage bus set up on something else, and we are piping into an interface with fluids, well, that fluid tank might accidentally get filled with a fluid before I've actually filtered it. So this is a good way by making sure these particular fluids are stored on an external storage bus. We could store them in a fluid cell, but that also does mean that it will end up potentially overflowing, like for example, if we pipe into an interface. So let's just do it like this for right now. And we just simply need to take these pipes and we just need to have it connected to a central sort of fluid storage. And we are also going to need access here to being able to send logs. So I'm going to pull that out a bit, connect here. And you know what? This will be a decent spot for a fluid storage drawer. And the cool part about this is once we do start sending fluids to it, we can lock this drawer. We don't have to worry about applied energistics ever sending any different type of fluid to it, even if we run out. Now, like I said, the configurator, fantastic tool. We are going to need it to be able to set these to extract mode, but nothing outside of that. Nothing is really required. We just need to simply pull it out. That is all going to get shipped down into here. And then I can now lock this drawer and we can craft some upgrades for it. And just using these diamond upgrades alone, oh boy, like this starts to add up. If we shift right click here, 84 buckets with one upgrade. We go to 2 upgrades, then we have 4,600 buckets can be stored in there, and then 55,000 buckets. More than enough. And I can even put another one in here. Technically, they're so cheap for us to make. So yeah, might as well max it out, right? 664,000 buckets. It's so many. Now, once I have this set up on a storage bus, I mean, things are going to be a whole lot easier for us to deal with autocrafts and many things here soon. Something I do want to mention, you can use either, I believe, jungle log or acacia logs. I want to go ahead and actually use acacia logs here. This is going to maximize the amount. It's almost 4 times faster, I do believe, to use acacia logs in here. So we just got to get an export bus with a crafter on here to make sure that keeps us in stock, and we should be ready to create all the stuff from this mod. So now what I'm going to do, remove the spruce logs and then get this tapped in. We just need our regular cables. There we go. And we're going to run this onto the same line and just tap it in. And that should be more than fine. There it goes. And then I'm going to go ahead and break these logs. Just like that. That way acacia logs get placed in there. Perfect. So now the foundation of, well, industrial foregoing is set in place. We are now producing latex, and that's really all we need to worry about is getting latex for right now, because this is the foundation of making all the other machines. We need plastic. And to get plastic, we are going to need to take this latex and send it into a latex processing unit. And this is how we're going to start to make our first upgrades. And once we get our first upgrades, this is no longer going to be anything we have to worry about. It's going to be generating more and plenty of latex for us. So yes, speaking of latex processing unit, we should probably do that. Right. Okay. So this is something I don't recommend, like auto crafting right off the bat. We're not really going to need more than probably one of them. This is how we're going to, though, generate the plastic pellets. And for right now, let's see, can we place it right here? I mean, this is going to fill up with latex from one of our sides, which is going to be fine. And we just want it to take this and water and essentially turn it into pellets that we can smelt later. Actually, this might be a good time to demonstrate how we could technically send the latex into this machine and also send anything else into the machine. Like, we don't even, I think, need water to do this. I could be wrong though. Like, sending into the same face might cause some problems. So you know what, for right now, instead of using my AE to send water to this machine, we're just going to say on the back here, let's go ahead and make all of these disabled for right now. It doesn't really matter, but we do want the back of the machine to be enabled. And that's what we want, pulling in water, which we should see happening as soon as we set this to pull. So there we go. We see water going in. And then all of the other sides, they should be just fine for us. I want to pop down here and I want to try something new that is really, really cool that we can do with applied energistics. and that is from Advanced AE, an import export bus. So all inside of one device, we have an importer and an exporter. So how does this function? Well, we just simply need to define what we're sending in here, and that should be the latex. And we just need to drag it in its fluid form. And you know, it'd probably help if you actually spelled it right. But there we go. Latex should go in once we have the cables connected. So I'll just run in some cables, and the product, the thing that is finished, once the latex has gone in here, which it's done, and it reaches the right amount, the thing that gets produced should then go automatically back into our Planinergistics system, thanks to that import, all on the same device. Oh, that's wonderful. Now here's something though I kind of want to test. Let's disable the water and the way we're actually sending it water. And let's see, can we also get away with setting this to round robin on this and also adding water? Like, we should be able to definitely add water to the system like this. Is that also going to feed it with water? It does. Okay, so yeah, we can get away with farming this machine with one input device. Oh, that's so great. I love Advanced AE. Now, already I have about 25 dry rubber, and that's going to probably be plenty enough for us to fully get started here. So let's head down. I do need to smelt these up quickly. We're gonna drop that in. And I mean, now we're ready to rock and roll and should be able to make the machine that literally makes everything, the dissolution chamber. Now that I've got the latex and I have my dissolution chamber and we have all of this set up, I'm letting this fill up for right now, but I did shut it off with redstone. And what I'm going to do is right over here, basically in the same form, we're going to get that dissolution chamber set up. This is also going to require a point because it does need to receive some power, but everything here should be easily handled with a simple pattern provider. And so now the fun begins. We have the pattern provider on the bottom, and I'm using a extended one so we have significantly more space, because this one machine essentially crafts like everything for this mod. So I do need to change one thing, and that is the bottom of the machine needs to be set to push the output. And then inside of the pattern provider, we just want to set this to lock until primary crafting result is returned. We can either do that, or we can just do blocking mode. Either one of those is going to work for this particular setup. And I think blocking mode might be one of the best ones, just to simply push the products into here and then wait for it to return. And then it'll send a new set. So this is going to send everything whenever we extend these crafters, because this also has a fluid input for a lot of these crafts. And the main crafts that we need to get set up right off the bat is just the add-ons tier 2. So we should have everything like ready to go for these. Looks like I am going to need to make a pattern, for example, for glass panes, but like everything else, I think we have, even like furnaces. Yeah. And it looks like we also need sugar. You know what? Might as well use some of the witch hats that we get from our mob farm. But whenever we create this, you can see it does automatically throw the latex in, and that's how easy setting up these patterns are. And I've got to do this for each of these machines. Some of them are going to require blaze rods. I don't actually want to make the tier 1 and start from tier 1. I actually want to start from tier 2. To me, it just doesn't make sense starting there unless you are like in a world where diamond resources were definitely limited. But now the goal is to get all of these upgraded so we can produce way more latex. That is going to take a little bit of time. I do recommend, like with this mod, definitely letting some things build up. We do also have to get the cables connected to this machine so we can see it inside to request. I mean, that's definitely a thing. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. Let's run this cable up here and around, and now we have all of our upgrades. I'm gonna do like, let's do, for example, I don't think we can do 8 maybe yet. Yeah, we're missing the latex just by a little bit, so let's do 7 for right now. No, hold on, let's just do 4. Can we even do 4? We can't even do 4. Oh man, this is gonna take a while. We're gonna have to wait for our latex to build up. Okay, I mean, I guess for right now I have enough for 1. So 1 speed upgrade. It is going to take a little bit of time, but once we have this up and rolling and the ability to make just even the base speed upgrades, things are really quick going. Like, yeah, once you get this upgraded and everything, and there we go. So there's our 1 upgrade. We can take that and we need to send it into here. You can shift right click to place these upgrades. That's already going to speed this up quite a bit. But you know what? While I'm waiting for latex to build up, we should probably start working on a few other things. And so let's start working on something like crying obsidian. This is going to be one of the things needed for advanced upgrades. And we are going to need some mob stuff very, very soon, but the primary thing is getting crying obsidian. This is going to be witch water with some obsidian inside of a mixing barrel, and that gets us crying obsidian. But we also need to generate some obsidian, and I have yet to have done this, believe it or not. So we can get this by taking lava and I believe witch water, and we can combine these two things. No, just regular water and lava. Now it does say source block consumed, but a lot of people in the community have definitely been saying, hey, Chosen, you can just simply take a source block, move it out one, and then it actually consumes this, not the source block from within world. So we're going to give that a shot. And I don't know if this is like a bug fully or what, but I do want to do it this way. I mean, it makes sense doing it this way. For whatever reason, this does feel right. Because otherwise, lava would be kind of a pain just placing it in world and could potentially cause a lot more lag than it might be worth having a generator like this. So anyways, let's get lava. There we go. And place that. And this is supposed to consume this, right? Or not really consume it, I guess, and just generate it. Let's see. That's generating cobblestone. We need it to generate obsidian. This might be one of the cases where this actually doesn't do the thing that you think it does. Ah, no, it does need obsidian underneath in order to generate obsidian. Okay, so let's grab a block of obsidian, and we just need to place that underneath here. And then that should start generating obsidian? Maybe? Maybe not? Once this is cleared? That should turn to obsidian, right? Right? Maybe if I break it and replace it? There it goes. Okay, there it goes. And you can see it is still actually consuming the block in world, but it's not consuming the source of that block. So there's that. I still don't like this. I don't like this about the generator, it removing these blocks over and over again. But now I guess all I need to do is I need this to send into a barrel, and then we need to pull that out into some sort of barrel out here. So maybe something like this. This one we're going to need item pipes. Solving one problem after another. That is a fluid pipe. There we go. Like this. This one's going to go up. We can have the barrel right here, and then we can use the fluid pipes to pull in witch water, but we have to make sure it's filtered for witch water. Or at least I think we do. Actually, you know what? Let's just place this in. Does this have to be specifically filtered? Now, this is going to be a problem. Let's turn this off temporarily. We'll take this, and then when I place this down, we want to make sure that's disconnected. Otherwise, that's going to fill with water. But we also have this problem here where we have that disconnect. There we go. And then I can set this back up, making sure it gets the water in there. Over on this side, place this. All of these pulling. I'm assuming that is going to keep that witch water and not try to fill with anything else. Huh. I mean, all this has in it is obsidian, so that obsidian goes in there. That gets turned into crying obsidian. And then down here, we have a pipe that needs to be disconnected, and from here. And we have that pull the product into the barrel. But there's our problem. Yes, okay, so these do have to be filtered in order for us to make sure this is only filling with witch water. So you know what? I have a different solution here. We could use like a pushing upgrade. Let's see, this is a pusher upgrade. And if I use a pusher upgrade, I think what we could do is we could fill this and lock it. That will filter it for the whole system here. We just need to remove this connection. Bring that up. We don't want that filling with water. Stop. No. Oh no. That's a big problem with filling these up. You can't really filter after the fact. Oh my goodness. But we can put the fluid in. So the fluid is now in, and then we lock it. So now we don't have to worry about that anymore. And so this will be a fluid drawer filled with witch water, filtered, and then the pusher upgrade, which is going to push down. That should fill this with the witch water. Right? Yeah, there we go. Witch water is now filled up. And this is handling it all. Very janky, but it is getting the job done. And now we have the slow production of crying obsidian, which this looks like it's one of the best ways to obtain it. Now that is just one of the things checked off the list, because to be able to get the upgraded upgrades or the upgraded add-ons, yes, we're still going to need to automate in some way totems of undying, shulker shells, and also dragon's breath. Dragon's breath is actually quite easy. We just need ourselves a dragon head to be able to do that. Also, we do need a dragon head for one of the recipes, so we need a way to duplicate dragon heads, which is going to involve making dragon seeds, which I do have to kill the dragon, I think, a few more for those scales. Actually, no, I think I have enough to make the dragon seed. What? I mean, that's perfect. Yeah, we should definitely make the dragon seed. Now, this is a tier 6, which does require the crux to go underneath it, so we do need the crux, and that's why I needed 8 scales. We need 4 to be able to actually make the seed, and we need 4 for the crux. We got this. Let's make some insanium real quick. And this is where the power of the master infusion crystal really shines. Like, we could just handcraft a few of these. It takes nothing at all to do this. Already probably have a ton of insanium just from this alone. But yeah, that's we only need 8 insanium. There we go. And we have 14 insanium blocks, which is more than enough to be able to get all of the seed we need. So Crossberry seed goes in here, 4 of the dragon scales, and then 4 of the essence. That's a dragon seed, guys. And then this needs to be underneath the farmland, so we'll simply make the dragon crux, and this can go right into one of our mystical farms. For example, I need to place the seed right here, and by default, notice it's not growing, but we should be able to get it to grow if we go under here and underneath the farmland. I think it's like right here. Yes, we place that crux, and now you can see it is growing just like everything else and being farmed. Great. So now back to all of our upgrades, right? So I've got these upgrades, and we now have quite a bit of latex that have built up. Yeah, 173 buckets now, and I haven't even upgraded the rest of these machines, but we can now definitely upgrade them. Now at this point, I also want to make it very clear, why are we even getting into industrial foregoing? Well, we are going to need the lasers for many of the things that we want to farm in the future, but there's also the simulated hydroponic beds, which can generate resources at an incredible rate as well, any of the mystical seeds, things like that. But there's also block generators that are going to make solving these problems very simple, like for example the obsidian, all of which are things we are going to need for the All the Mods star if I want to make even more than one of them. To make that possible, I am going to need to utilize some of these speed upgrades, and I really hope that they are going to be fast enough to be able to generate some of this stuff, like for example sand, gravel, many things like that. Now some other things, we also have soul lava, and I mentioned this before, but to be able to get soul lava, which is needed for like ancient stone and stuff, the only way to really get this is by using a blue laser on top of a warden. And the soul lava is used for a lot of different things. It's also used as a heat source, which does produce a lot of power for certain things. But, I mean, primarily I think is like ancient stone and smithing templates and stuff like that. I mean, if it's even necessary. But I do think this is required in some regard, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, we have to do industrial foregoing whether we want to or not, because the supreme machine frame is going to require those lasers, which just require ether gas. And well, this block right here is definitely late game. It's like the end game of the mod. I just really want to show that these blocks do have use outside of just being required for the star. They are going to be pretty important for actually completing several of these block quests. Now, as I look deeper into these add-ons, it looks like at least the first few tiers are pretty easy. Pink slime, that's what we're about to be generating. That is the first tier going up to efficiency tier 3. The next one is going to require some sort of experience, which I'm about to generate. And then we have sludge. Sludge is going to be a little bit more challenging to actually generate, but that's only the first few. Now, getting XP showing up into our system, well, I mean, that's as simple as tapping this with a storage bus. So that should show experience now, I think, as liquid inside of here, I believe. And so I did set the partition, so it's XP fluid. Okay, so yeah, this does show up. So now it should default whenever we go to use this. Now I do need to get pink slime. That's going to be best probably gathered from our existing mob farm. To get pink slime, we just need to use a mob slaughter factory. This is a very simple process here. So long as this is powered, it has a range upgrade. This is going to generate 2 different types of fluids. We're going to have pink slime and liquid meat that get generated here. And I just want to take those two fluids and I want to send them into containers that are next door. So like liquid meat, we can go ahead and eject that to the left, and pink slime, we can push that over here and just make sure to lock the drawers. And that's as simple as this needs to be. And then I just simply storage bus these and we are ready to go. And this all shows up inside of our system. So now we have pink slime that's being generated. I have the speed going on in here. And then we also have liquid meat that we can use for anything. Now for the production of sludge, this might be one of our slower things that we have to generate. And I'm wondering if we can't use applied energistics to potentially speed this up. But let's just say we have dirt that is right here and we have a crop that is being harvested. We are going to need like a hoe. So we're going to have to hoe this land. Does this work? Nope, it is broken. Get one that's not broken. Okay, so we have that. And underneath it, we can place the water. That way that the farmland doesn't disappear or anything like that. And we place a carrot, right? So this should, when the carrot is fully grown, it should harvest it. So let's grab some bone meal. And let's see. Okay, so I did that. It is fully grown. Okay, so maybe it's harvesting from directly above it, not actually harvesting from here. This is a block that I haven't used in a long time. Now, you know what? It would probably help if I actually gave it power. Oh no. So there we go. After giving it a little bit of power, place the carrot down, get it fully grown, and there it goes. Okay, so it did harvest and it produced 20 millibuckets of sludge. And so what we could do is potentially kind of spam this and just have this grown up right here, like have carrots constantly being grown and have them being grown really fast. And this just collects them. But we do have to replant because notice one of the problems with this is it doesn't replant the carrots. Now I'm starting to come up with a solution to this problem. So we will grow the crop, but it then will break that crop. So we then need to send the product into here. So I've got the output pushing into this. Then we need a pusher upgrade. Go ahead and request one real quick. I cannot believe I do not have hoppers automated at this point. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, well, now I do. Out of all the things, I'm pretty sure I had it automated. But there we go. Pusher upgrade. Nice. And we need to tell this, hey, send to this direction, which is going to be north on here. So yes, we just make sure north is set. Throw that in there. That should start filling that into this click machine. And then we need to upgrade this because right now this is of course clicking the actual plant, which is then dropping it in world sometimes. But the primary thing we want to happen is this to just passively generate sludge because it is harvesting this crop. So now we just need to get acceleration upgrades in this machine and we shouldn't have to worry about the clicker breaking anything. I think that is going to be more than fine. Now I wonder, can I actually put this in? I don't think that there's enough light able to get in, unfortunately. So having this accelerator is probably not going to work. But I mean, I didn't actually test this. Like, how powerful are these growth accelerators on here? Like, if I put like a point, for example, in this, how powerful can this thing be at growing the crops? I mean, that does seem a bit faster. But now that this is generating sludge, we just want to push the sludge to the left-hand side, which I believe will push into here, right? This is the left of the machine. Actually, this may be from this direction. So wait, let's put this back. Is it actually pushed to this side? This is the face of the machine. Oh my goodness, that's so confusing. But there we go. And that right there alone has given me the ability to now make at least efficiency 3, which requires pink slime, efficiency 4, which requires XP fluid. We have all of these materials too. And then going all the way up to sludge. However, we are missing totems of undying, but we did solve the crying obsidian problem. And these are all just going to be tiering up as we continue on, making this whole process so much quicker. So I guess now we should show off at least getting to the tier 4, since that's as high as we can go. So yeah, I mean, making up some tier 4 upgrades, getting speed, probably going to be the best one to go for right off the bat. So let's at least make one and just look how much stuff goes into making this. it is going to be nonstop. But I can immediately swap out the speed that is in here and put it in here, and that is going to be basically double the speed we currently have. I mean, that didn't even take that long, but yes, we can replace that speed. Let's see, this is a speed 2. So yes, we swap that out. And then now I can make all of the other ones. So we just did speed. So let's do the processing. We'll make that. Oh, and that is already so much quicker. And so now we have this max upgraded, at least up to tier 4. And so making, for example, a speed from scratch, or it's not even from scratch, right? We make the tier, it's taking the base tier upgrade and continuing on. And it does appear like the higher the tier upgrade you go, the slower the actual crafting is, but that was insanely fast. And I definitely want to upgrade this to make sure it can harvest quick enough and like completely beat out this clicker on harvesting. And I think that right there, that's incredibly fast. If we look at the machine itself, we can see how quickly this is processing. So good. But now all of this has essentially led up to this moment, making a material stonework factory. Like I said, this one block alone is incredibly quick, and I absolutely love this thing. So let's go ahead and get a craft. We do have to make pink slime. That does involve this recipe, which does produce a byproduct. I'm actually going to void off the byproduct, and I think waste water byproducts are probably just going to get sent to a trash can. But yes, it's another thing we have to make. Also the advanced machine frame, which I do have in here as well. And this thing is going to rock and roll here in a second. With all crafts in hand, we can place that in. This gets generated really, really fast. Like I said, that water I'm not super worried about, but there we go. Stonework factory. Oh man. And we're probably going to have multiple of these stonework factories going. Now, just with power and having the upgrades in here, we can give this some lava, some water that generates cobblestone, and look how quickly it's compacting the cobblestone. Now, I was wondering this, if it can actually break and crush the cobblestone like other things can do, but we can still like crush this. For example, this can be crushed and immediately turned into silicon. Like, this is great for applied energistics alone. And look how quickly it's able to generate the silicone just by doing this, or the silicon, I mean, with these upgrades. And this is only tier 4. This actually goes even higher, all the way up to tier 8. And it doesn't even use water or lava to be able to generate these things. So we're going to be able to generate gravel. We're also going to be able to generate sand and silicon, which we are definitely going to need for applied energistics. And we're going to need this in large quantities. And if provided with lava, for example, it can generate obsidian very, very quickly, so long as you have enough. And I do plan on making an unlimited lava cell, so we will definitely have plenty of lava to feed this. There's a lot of stuff that I got to get done. But this was definitely a stepping stone, and it's definitely something you probably want to get set up in your own world. By the way, this can generate a ton of different things, like you can generate netherrack, obsidian, all the different variants of stone type blocks. So yes, and all of those can be crushed and smelted. You can have infinite glass and all kinds of other stuff just passively being generated for you and just turned in and placed directly into like a barrel, for example. Oh boy. And this is where earlier I asked you, what is your favorite block or machine from Industrial Foregoing? Yeah, this is my favorite one, and I'm sure it's possibly a lot of you guys' favorites as well. But I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. What are you guys planning on doing next? And let me know. Of course, be sure to answer your favorite block from Industrial Foregoing. But guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. And with that, it's now time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Bloat King. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and just supporting the content in one of the best ways possible. You absolute boss. And thank you all so much. I'll see you in the next one. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.